They left for a family trip without me, 17 people, 4 cars, and a secret group chat. A wrong text exposed everything. I canceled the $12,500 booking, and by morning, 101 missed calls begged me to fix their emergency. You know, my uncle kind of half joked last Christmas, saying, "Oh, it must be nice not to be included," when I offered to cover the family dinner bill. I laughed it off, thinking it was just a joke. But turns out, it wasn't. Fast forward to this year, I woke up on December 23rd to a super quiet house. No messages, nobody knocking, and definitely no smell of breakfast cooking, just a silence so thick it felt like it was smothering me. Except for a rogue charging cable and a couple of pine needles by the door, the living room was freakishly clean. My suitcase was still lying in the hallway, untouched since my last work trip. My toothbrush was bone dry, and my wallet hadn't even moved. I figured maybe everyone was just running late or something. So, I called my mom. She picked up on the second ring, like she wasn't expecting anyone. "Hey," I asked, "where is everybody?" And then there was this long pause, the kind where you can almost hear someone trying to figure out what to say. She finally says, "We thought you were in the van with your cousins." And I'm just standing there like, what? No calls, no texts, not even a "where's your seat?" Out of 17 people on this big family trip. Mom tries to play it off, saying, "I could swear Zach told me you were in the car too. Maybe there was a mix-up?" Another awkward silence followed, and I just hung up. Didn't yell, didn't ask why I was left out, even though I had pitched in to pay for that fancy Airbnb in the mountains, $12,500 on my credit card, mind you, and they still forgot me. About 2 hours later, my phone buzzes with a message from my sister, Emma. It was a screenshot, and I could tell it was meant for her friend Caitlin. It showed our family group chat with all 17 names and a pinned message about their plans. Underneath, Emma had written, "He's really not here, OMG our plan worked." I was just staring at it like, what the hell? I didn't reply or call her. I just sat at my kitchen table, opened my laptop, logged into the Airbnb account, and hit cancel on the booking. Got a refund notice saying the money would be back in 3 to 5 days. Then, I shot back a single text, "Merry Christmas." No emoji, no exclamation, just plain and simple. Half an hour later, my phone started going crazy, 42 missed calls, which turned into 70, then one text marked as emergency. I switched my phone off. It was time for step 2. The first call I bothered to answer later was from Dad. His voice was raw, like he'd been in a yelling match. "What did you do? You canceled the whole house," he demanded. "No," I replied calmly, "I just canceled my booking. It just so happened to be the entire booking because it was on my card. You think this is a joke?" He was mad, saying there were 17 people standing out in the snow by a cabin. I shot back, "You think I'm a joke?" and hung up. When I turned my phone back on an hour later, the chaos was in full swing. Missed calls from everyone: Mom, Aunt Mary Ann, Cousin Leo, Emma again, even her boyfriend Zach, who seemed to be more family than I was. I didn't bite. For once, I wasn't the one scrambling to fix their mess. For 3 years, I'd been picking up the tab for every holiday rental, every cousin's birthday gift. Every time Emma's car broke down, I was the go-to, not because I was her brother, but because I was the dependable one. Mom once said, "You're the responsible one, that's why we lean on you." Nah, I realized it was because I was the quiet one who wouldn't fight back, the easy target. Fake apologies and real lies. By Christmas Eve, they were pulling out the stops. Mom texted, "We didn't mean to exclude you, things got hectic with Emma's kids and Zach's visa. Please, let's not ruin Christmas." I left it on read. Then Emma posted on Instagram from some roadside diner near the mountains, something about family meaning not always agreeing, but always forgiving. I actually laughed out loud. The comments were full of sympathy like, "Stay strong babe. Hope things calm down soon, and people show who they are in tough times." Then I saw a story from Emma's private account, one I wasn't supposed to see anymore. Screenshot of the family group chat, with me missing, from the chat. Caption read, "He's finally out. Can't believe it took this long." Right below was a pic of that Airbnb refund email. They had planned this, knowing I'd pay for the trip and still be left out. As if that wasn't enough, I checked my bank statement. Not just Airbnb costs, Emma had been using my Netflix, Spotify, Amazon Prime, ordering next day delivery for hiking gear. None of it involved me, but all on my dime. And there it was, a $780 charge at a ski rental place in Aspen. I've never even gone skiing. They'd used my login, my saved card info, my identity. I took screenshots of everything, then checked back on the family chat minus me. So, 2 years back, Emma begged me to help her sort out her debt for just 3 months. Fast forward 31 days, and silence turned into sabotage. On Christmas night, I shared something privately, a story for my close friends with a screenshot of the refund confirmation and a caption that read, "Looks like I'm not as invisible as they thought." By the next morning, people I hadn't heard from in ages were messaging me. Cousin Leo messaged me like, "Dude, I had no idea they didn't invite you. That's messed up. I only went because they said you couldn't make it." Then Aunt Marianne chimes in, "Wait, you were paying for all this? I thought your parents covered the house." But the real revelation came from Zach, Emma's boyfriend, who was kind of a sidekick. At first, he was nervous, then he texted, "Man, I didn't know about any of this. I thought you stayed back for work. Emma told me you volunteered to cover the Airbnb, then said you didn't like being around people, that you were fragile." Fragile. The same word my dad used last year when I mentioned I was burned out from work. Apparently, fragile guys don't last long in the real world. Then Zach made a shaky call that evening and spilled everything. Emma had been planning this ultimate family trip since October, calling it her Christmas rebrand. No drama, no me. She told Zach she'd handle the Airbnb but let it slip to Mom that I volunteered to pay. She never added me to the travel plans or invited me to the Zoom calls. According to her, I just get in the way. Zach whispered that she said I'd ruin the mood and assured him, "Don't worry, he's used to being left out. He won't even notice." I hung up. Then I started compiling evidence, screenshots, emails, Emma's Instagram stories, Amazon invoices, and Airbnb charges, anything that showed how I was supposedly part of the family but always the last to know and the first to pay. I even Googled $12,500 Airbnb chargeback plus fraud and got to work. They thought I'd just retreat to my apartment with half-finished puzzles and unspoken grudges while they celebrated. They were wrong. Emma, being the strategic genius, forgot that her phone was still logged into my Spotify. So, I could see her GPS location, the cabin, the store, the trails, and then their Christmas dinner reservation at 7 p.m., Mountain Hearth Lodge, Aspen Room. I booked a table at the same lodge an hour earlier, armed with my laptop, the evidence folder, transaction records, and my phone with queued-up screenshots. I threw on a suit I hadn't worn since my last job interview and drove up the mountain. At 7 p.m., I arrived at the Aspen Room. They'd pushed tables together for 17 people, with my seat noticeably empty. I watched them for a moment, Mom's nervous smile, Dad pouring wine like he was at a fancy gala, Emma glued to her phone probably checking likes on her perfect Christmas post, and Zach looking miserable. I walked over casually. Fork stopped midair. Someone, probably Aunt Julia, muttered, "Oh no." "Hey everyone," I said cheerfully, "I heard we were having Christmas dinner." Silence. Then Emma goes, "This isn't your reservation." I just smiled, "Actually, it is. You're sitting under my name, the one who paid for this lodge package. Check the receipt." Dad stood up, accusing me of causing a scene. "No," I said, "I'm making a point." I opened my laptop, showing them everything, the Airbnb invoice, the refund confirmation, and Emma's text about their plan working. Emma tried to say something, but I stopped her. Then came the Amazon orders, Netflix, Spotify, Uber, all on me. I faced my parents. "Here are your grocery delivery receipts, which you said were from your pension. Funny, this card says otherwise." Finally, I showed a screenshot of Emma's private story that said, "He's finally out. Can't believe it took this long." Dead silence. Mom looked like she'd swallowed a lemon. So, there we were at dinner. Dad was practically grinding his teeth like he was on the verge of cracking a tooth. Zach stood up, took his time, cleared his throat, and went, "Yeah, I'm done." Emma spun around like, "Wait, what? Seriously?" But Zach just raised his hand and said, "I tried to give you the benefit of the doubt, but this is just cruel. You used him, lied to all of us, and for what? A photo op?" Emma stuttered, "You don't understand." Zach shot back, "Oh, I understand enough. I'm not spending another night in that cabin. You people are impossible." Then it got even more intense. Aunt Marianne whispered something to Mom, and Uncle Leo chimed in loudly, "I didn't know you were paying for all this, man. I thought you just didn't want to come." That's when Dad lost it. "This is exactly why we didn't invite you. You always act like a victim, always trying to make everyone feel guilty." I stepped closer and said, "No, I act like someone who's sick of paying to be ignored." Then came my big moment. I dug out a portable speaker, hit play, and bam, Emma's voice filled the room, saying, "Don't worry, he's used to being left out. He won't even notice. Clear as day, a voice memo she'd sent Zach a month ago, saved in the chat. Emma lunged for it. Turn it off. So I cranked up the volume. Mom stood up. Please, can we talk about this? But I was done with talking. I pulled out a simple business card that read, "This dinner was paid for by the one you left behind. Bon appetit." I placed it smack in the middle of the table, closed my laptop, and walked out. Behind me, I heard chairs scraping, a plate clattering, someone muttering Jesus Christ. Outside, snow had just started to fall. By the time I made it back to the city, my story was already spreading like wildfire. Zach went home right after dinner and made a short but powerful post about realizing too late how some people can be cruel, treating it like a holiday tradition. He didn't name names, he didn't have to. People connected the dots fast. The next morning, I went public. I posted a thread, no dramatic caption, just the facts. They all left for this big family trip, 4 cars, 17 people, 1 group chat, and I wasn't in it. I woke up alone in the house I paid for. Hours later, a message came through, "He's really not here. OMG, our plan worked." So I canceled the $12,500 booking and pressed play on the truth. I uploaded screenshots of transactions, voice memos, lodge receipts, and a photo of that final dinner table, 17 people frozen in silence. It blew up, thousands of likes, retweets, comments, and DMs. People shared their own stories of family drama and being left out. Mom messaged me the next evening, begging me to delete the post. "People are calling. We're embarrassed. This wasn't supposed to go public." Then Dad was thinking about talking to a lawyer. Emma hadn't stopped crying. I didn't respond. The next day, Emma messaged, "You ruined everything." I replied, "No, Emma, I revealed it." On December 26th, I uploaded a video. Just me, 1 chair, white background, calm voice. I didn't want to do this, but they made me the villain before I even knew there was a script. They planned a trip with my money without including my name and laughed when I wasn't there. So here's the truth, not for revenge, but for the record. I laid it all out, the silent years, being the reliable one, and how they used me, excluded me, then tried to gaslight me into silence. I played the memo and ended with this: "If you've ever felt left behind, here's your sign. It's not your fault. It's theirs." The video racked up 3 million views in a week. The family tried to save face. Dad posted a half-hearted apology on Facebook about how families fight but real men don't air dirty laundry. Uncle Leo commented, "Should have just invited him." Emma's attempt was a sad Instagram story with a black screen. "People change when you stop letting them manipulate you." I laughed out loud. She was trying to spin herself as the victim. Then something unexpected happened. 3 of my younger cousins, the quiet, overlooked ones, messaged me. Each said some version of the same thing. "Thank you for saying what we couldn't." One even said, "I saw myself in your video. I thought I was crazy. Now I know I'm not." That hit me harder than anything else. It wasn't just my story. It was a blueprint for others to break free. Then came the business offer. A message popped up from a content platform I'd never heard of. They wanted to license my story for a short series. I said yes, with one condition. Honestly, I never had any interest in being famous. I just wanted folks like me to feel seen, and luckily, they got on board with that. But then, out of nowhere, I get an email from a law firm. It wasn't for me, though, it was for them. Turns out Emma had used my name and financial info to score better health insurance. Totally shady and illegal, with potential legal trouble looming. I decided to stop being quietly generous. On New Year's Eve, I shared one last story. It was a snapshot of my cozy, tidy apartment, a glass of wine perched on the windowsill. The caption read, "This year, I unwrapped the truth, and it was better than anything I ever got under the tree." None of my family liked it, but I got love from strangers and a few unexpected allies. I spent the night watching fireworks solo, and honestly, I've never felt more liberated. By January 3rd, I decided to change my number. No warnings, no farewell texts, and no just in case you need me messages. I let it drift away like an old voicemail on a dead phone. The last few texts trickled in as expected, Emma asking if I was really cutting everyone off, Dad telling me to man up and fix things, and Mom reminding me that I'm still her son. But you know what? It hit me that I was never truly included out of love. I was just useful to them. The moment I stopped paying their way, I became nothing more than noise, a problem, a threat to their carefully crafted story. I didn't ghost them, I simply outgrew them. I moved into a new place downtown, 27th floor with stunning south-facing views, no spare rooms, and no couch for anyone to crash on. The first thing I unpacked was a photo of me at that dinner, right before I left the table with the 17 others. I framed it and hung it in the hallway, not as some trophy but as a reminder, don't beg to stay where you're not wanted. A message they couldn't ignore. A week later, on January 8th, I got a real letter from my parents' lawyer. They were worried about their reputation and wanted me to take down my posts and say they were fiction. It was laughable. So I replied, everything's factual, documented, and protected. If you push this, Discovery will bring out bank records, texts, voice notes, and eyewitnesses. Also, good luck with the fraud case against Emma, I didn't even report that. Never heard back from them. I turned the whole mess into something bigger than revenge. Within 6 weeks of going public, I got invites for 3 podcasts, a panel on toxic family dynamics, and a photo shoot in Toronto. I turned most down but accepted one. The host asked what I'd say to folks who claim blood is thicker than water. I just smiled and said, don't be surprised if your own family tries to drown you. Then came the literal sign. I opened a small co-working space at the city's edge for creative folks, freelancers, people who'd fought through tough times and needed a new start. I called it Not Included, with a little tag underneath, a place for the ones left off the invite. On opening day, I taped something to the front desk, a printout of Emma's first message, he's really not here, OMG, our plan worked. I framed it under glass with the words, and now I am. I don't miss them, just who I thought they were. When asked if I've forgiven them, I say I've released them, not the same thing. I don't hate them or wish them harm, I just don't carry them anymore. I ignore unknown numbers, don't check old chats, and don't second guess what I could have done differently. Truth is, I did everything right, and they still chose to leave me out. The last thing I said to them was quiet but final. Christmas card season came early. I sent just one card to my parents, featuring a photo of me in front of the Not Included sign. No caption, no return address, just a sticky note inside, next time, try paying for your own vacation. I wasn't just forgotten, I was erased. But I turned it into a billboard, and now they drive past it every day. But coming inside? That's not allowed anymore.